Every week in the NFL is different. Teams rise and fall based on all types of factors. The members of the Roundtable gather each week to debate the top 10 teams, as well as determine the 5 worst teams better known as the Stinky 5. Hosted by Thomas Brown Jr., this is the Rankings Roundtable.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is your favorite show of the week. Not very many can replace it. Not very many can top it. It's the Rankings Roundtable Show, Week 3 edition. And of course, I did not come alone, but I do want to start off with an apology first. I know that I watched last week's show, and I know last week's show, you saw the face, you saw the shock, you saw the confusion. I did not hear the intro. That is on me. That is on me, the host, that should be able to have this nailed and figured out. Well, we fixed it up today, and now we got a crowd of witnesses to join us. But nevertheless, all special teams aside, I did not come alone. I have my lovely friends joining me from Team NBS Media, joining me on tonight's show. And you know what? This guy is a first-year starter. He's having his debut game, if you will, on the Rankings Roundtable show. He is one of our great writers for the Green Bay Packers. And I'm pretty sure he's recovering from what was the Cleveland Browns this past week. But he's still assuming that we're going to make the Super Bowl. I present to you, Matt. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that amazing entrance. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, it's just like salt in the wound. Every time I turn the corner, somebody has to be like, "Oh, that Cleveland Browns game." You're like, "Yeah, that Cleveland Browns game." Yeah, thanks. You know, I can't every turn the corner is like, "Hey, that Cleveland." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, thanks." Like, we beat ourselves. The Cleveland Browns didn't beat us. That's all I can take. You know, now we got that ugly loss out of the way early in the year, and not at the end of the year. So that's a great news. Onward and onward to where we're going to destroy your arch rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, for you this weekend.
Oh, we greatly appreciate that in advance. But we're not gonna forecast. We don't have weathermen here. So without further ado, you can't have a spectacular show without just one Eagles fan. You have to mess around and have two. And he just so happens to be so great that he's covered up in a mask. He's a part of the Mask Podcast. He is. Mark, how you doing, my man? How are you?
What's going on? What's going on, brother?
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. It's a great shirt. Everybody should wear it. And lastly, this guy, he is, I consider him to be a grizzled old vet. This guy, he churns in great performance after great performance, regardless of his old age. He still gets the job done, regardless of what the platform is, show, article, you name it, he's done it. He covers the Indiana Jones-led Indianapolis Colts, who are 3-0. Can you believe that? And a team who just picked up their first win of the year in the Kansas City Chiefs. Bill Carroll, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Well, considering that there are pictures of me right in the background as they're taking Jesus to the cross, apparently. So thanks for the intro. Very nice to be here. For those that would like to know about like the early prototypes of the wheel, I'm your guy to come see.
All right.
He's the one who made the wheel.
Yeah, you're the one who actually helped invent the wheel. Well done.
And
well
fire.
Done. Well,
you can't forget the fire. He was very
I think
key in the making.
this. Right. Well, I think it's fair to say that this past week was kind of weird. There were a lot of games that ended in fashions that even if you are a betting man that's made a lot of money over the years, even with the NFL, you could not imagine betting on some of these games the way that they ended in the fashion that they ended. We've had blocked kicks. We've had punt returns. You name it, it's happened in week 3. So I'm pretty sure the rankings this week is going to be all over the place. But that's neither here nor there. I'm pretty sure we have an idea of who is who and why they're where they're at. So without further ado, I will start with you, Matt. What does your top 10 list look like? And explain why, man.
So my top 10 list, I'm going to go ahead and start with your Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they are the, defending Super Bowl champs, and they obviously are still playing like it. They play ugly, they play a running, slow, ugly offense with an elite defense that they're able to come back. The Rams, they were down by 20-plus points, and we're able to say, okay, we're going to have to trigger our offense. What we normally don't do, and we did it because we don't have to. That's not our game. We want to beat you ugly with our running game with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. But when the Rams got up ahead really quickly, they're like, okay, second half, we're going to have to adjust. We're going to have to go to the passing game, get our elite receivers and it came back and beat the Eagles or the Rams. So obviously I think that's easy. Bills, what else can you say? You got the MVP on this roster. They're still undefeated going into this season. Their defense is looking good. They struggled, they had a little bit of a rough patch against Miami. Miami played them really a lot tougher than what people were going to expect Thursday night football in Buffalo, but Buffalo came out on top. Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert apparently, once he got a girlfriend in Madison's ear, found his MVP level quarterback play that everybody was waiting for. And I'll just remember the touchdown he threw this last weekend on a dime to Keenan Allen to tie the game up, to make that game to go to take the lead and win the game. So, I mean, Justin, this team's going to be legit. I think Omari Hampton's going to make this offense better, not Najee Harris. So it's going to be interesting to see. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, Baker Mayfield is just a dog. He's playing really well. They're undefeated as well. They came back after that punt block field goal to get that game all tied up. Baker was able to drive him down the field, put him in field goal range to win that game. Green Bay Packers, if they were undefeated, I'd probably have them at 3, but they lost. Like I said, they beat themselves. I still really truly believe in this defense. The defense is not the reason they lost. It's the reason they should have won the game. The offense kind of failed them really quickly. And special teams, horrible special teams performance yet again from the Green Bay Packers. Detroit Lions beating the Ravens on Sunday or Monday night. Monday night football. After our domination over them, I think how the Lions have looked after the Packers game proves on how good this defense is for the Green Bay Packers, because they completely and utterly stopped that offense. And since then, that Lions offense has gone off. So this Lions team is very good. I know this is probably the first every little bit of a shock, keeping the Baltimore Ravens in the top 10. They have quality losses. They have been very close. They haven't lost very badly. I still really believe, I still think they're a top 10 team in the NFL. This should have been probably a top 5 team if they beat the Lions, but with losing to the Lions, I keep them just a little bit behind the Lions. Commanders, I think they're a great team. They were able to win with Marcus Mariota at quarterback helm. I think that just proves on how good Cliff Kingsbury is as an offensive coordinator for this team. Their defense is doing just enough. You would like to kind of hopefully see them step it up a little bit for the rest of the year. Rams, they should have beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, not going to lie to you, they should have. They choked that game away, but they still have a very good defense and they have a very good offense. So they're not going anywhere. And then Indianapolis Colts, shocker to everybody. They're 3-0. Nobody expected that. I'm not projecting. We said we don't project here. I'm still not totally sold on them. I would like to see a little bit more. I know Daniel Jones is the number 1 fantasy player in fantasy right now. Shockingly, nobody would expect Daniel Jones to be the number 1 player in fantasy. But we'll see how this offense continues. I do like the Colts, but that's my top 10 for week 3 going into week 4.
All right, Matt. I don't hate it. May have a question or two, but we will get to that when we get to that. Or as Patrick Mahomes once said, it'll get handled when it gets handled. Yep. Now, from one guy that has a name that starts with an M to another guy that has a name that starts with an M. Mark, you have a top 10 list of your own. What does it look like? And break it down for us.
I mean, well, Matt did a great job with his, so I'm pretty much gonna repeat damn near everything he said. The Eagles, I mean, you want them out of the top spot, you got to beat them, plain and simple. Buffalo, I'm not a Bills fan, but I kind of like that team, yo. Like, they are a team. I dig that. The Chargers, oh my God, they are a throwback team. They remind me of like the old 49ers with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice in them. They got a great defense. Najee Harris being injured, that's going to hurt them. But once again, we're not going to project. Hampton is a good back. I guess I got the Colts at 4. Can you believe that? Jonathan Taylor is having a Saquon Barkley type year that Barkley had last year. And Daniel Jones, holy shit. Yo, I know the Giants are sitting there like, what the hell did we do? So I got them good at 4, and defense is playing well. Tampa Bay, even though we played them this week, I hate them, but they are playing good ball. Baker Mayfield, another quarterback that a certain team is sitting there like, what the hell did we do? Packers, Matt, yeah, I got your boys at 6. I was never one to say a single person can change a team, but I'd be damned if Parsons did not change their defense. Them boys are scary. I would not want to play them in the playoffs. I'd be like, yo, let's forfeit. I don't even want to play them. Los Angeles, they got one loss. It came to the Eagles, and that was about what? Forget the 7 points or 8 points. That touchdown shouldn't even matter. So Eagles really won by 1 point. All that extra shit that they don't even count. They scary. They scary as hell. Detroit, we know what their offense can do. Their defense played really well. That's what I was looking at. I was looking at their defense. That's another scary team, and we already know that for the past 3 years. Minnesota. Okay. Steve's not on here, right? So I can say Minnesota.
You have a background fan. Go ahead, hate all you want.
I mean, Minnesota, what can you say? They got 18 different quarterbacks in 3 years, and yet they're still winning games. As much as you may want to hate them, you really can't. Like, they're balling. That was Carson Wentz. Like, what? Where you find them at? At ShopRite? The 49ers, I did not want to put them there. I swear I did not. But I cannot ignore 3-0. I cannot ignore 3-0. I tried my best. I put the Commanders there. I even tried to put the Saints there. I just had to put the 49ers over there just because they are 3-0 and they have been playing defensive ball. So that's my top 10.
All right. Wow. All right. Well, let's dive into this now. Now, Bill, you have the pleasure of having to wait until after our commercial break to go over our top 10 list because, of course, who doesn't want to hear it? All right. I do want to go over both Matt and Mark's list, the M&Ms, if you will. Okay, Matt, I'll start with you. I made this up on the fly. I promise you I didn't. This is not a script. I have notes right here. M&Ms, I did not have that right there. Okay, on the fly. Okay, hear me out. Matt, after seeing the way Baltimore has ended up at 1-2 to start the year, how in your eyes do you honestly feel like they deserve to be on the list? Like,
because they've lost for my list, they lost to the number 2 team and the number 6 team, and they lost by 9 points in total, 40-41 against the Bills, and then 38-30 against the Lions. You know, it's not like they're getting blown out; they're losing close, quality games against elite opponents. Obviously, you would like to see them win at least one of those two, but they are staying competitive in those matches, as well as they have the yips right now. Definitely Derrick Henry to back-to-back fumbles in a game. Sooner or later, again, not trying to project, but sooner or later that's going to get figured out. So I don't think that they deserve not to be in the top 10 at one. They deserve to be in the top 10 at 1 and 2 because 2 losses against 2 top 10 teams and only losing by 9 points combined.
Okay, one more question. All right, I have them ready to go. Okay,
What you got?
you have the Joe Cardoso Washington Commanders. Yes,
Yep.
yes, I mentioned the boss man's team right now. You have the Commanders over the Indiana Jones led Colts. Why is that?
I mean they're 2-1. Their one loss is to the Green Bay Packers. I mean, yes, the Packers did, that game, the score doesn't dictate on how bad, that game actually went for the Commanders, but they were able to win with their backup, be able to prove that they're a very good team this 1 week without Jaden Daniels. And then the Colts, I'm not in love with the Colts. That's going to be as simple as I can get it to. I live in Indiana. I've always been that's been my AFC team. I've always been a Packer fan. I now live in Indiana. I live 2 hours from Indianapolis, but this might be a little bit projected. I don't see that. I don't see that per se. I gave them the honor of being at 10, but I projected a little bit, not expecting them to live at that spot for long. I expect that coming crashing down. So
all right,
a little projected. I'm sorry, I projected.
Okay, and look, I get it. I get it 1,000%. Look, man, I get it. Sometimes you can't let go of the past. Sometimes if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. I get it. I learned from last year. I get it all 1,000%. I watched the New Orleans Saints last year start off 2-0. Everybody was talking like they were the greatest offense on turf, like it was the Rams from 2001. And then the rest of the season just flamed out completely. I get it. It just doesn't seem like that when it comes to the Colts. When you have Jonathan Taylor playing the way that he's playing, Daniel Jones, who hasn't thrown an interception yet, knock on wood. Okay, something does have to be said about that. I don't think that we can take anything away from that, is what I'm saying, personally. But I get it. I understand. We saw the Saints last year. We see these hot starts all the time in the NFL. They just go to disarray towards the end of the season. I hear you. I hear you.
Their big loss, their wins are against the Dolphins and the Titans. They beat the Broncos, but that was a 1-point game where the Broncos should have won. We can all agree that the Broncos should have won that game. The Broncos got screwed by the refs. So really this team should be 2-1. The penalty that caused the kick that the Broncos should have scored. So 2-1. Technically, obviously they're 3-0, but they lost that game by 1 point, and they beaten up on the Titans and the Dolphins, which we're going to probably see on all of our lists later on that top 5 teams. I'm just going to say. So let's calm down, pump the brakes on this Indianapolis Colts. Let's see them beat a real component before we start crowning them kings.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Matt. Now to go from one Eminem to another Eminem, Mark, your list has the Green Bay Packers, who struggled on offense and everything else in between against the Cleveland Browns, which, by the way, in case anybody missed it,
their defense is pretty good.
Don't know if anybody knew that or not. They did struggle on the offense to put up 13 points, to put up 10 points. How do you have them over the Detroit Lions, who had a fantastic showing on Monday night in Baltimore, against Lamar in that Ravens team?
Well, then we got the Packers. What happened against Cleveland is 17 games in the season, bro. 17. You're not going to score 40 points every freaking game. You're going to have a stinker. Cleveland defense is not to be played with at all. I don't care who they playing. They are not to be played with. I got them ahead of who we say? What was it? Detroit?
Yeah.
Simply because Detroit did beat Baltimore. I still don't know what Baltimore team that is. Baltimore scoring like 35 points, but they're giving up like 30 points. I don't trust them. Like I can see if you scoring 30 and you giving up 15, and their defense is whack. Like, you know, and they've been exposed for 3 games. For 3 games, yes, they won 1, but they still been exposed for 3 games. It's like same thing my man Matt said about Indianapolis Colts. Like, you know, the Ravens lost against some good teams, no doubt about it. But you are supposed to be the class of the AFC. That's why you went and paid all this money for this defense, and yet you're still playing like last year. So the Green Bay, they made upgrades, and they're playing like they made upgrades. Yes, they lost their game. Whoop-de-doo. It's going to happen in 17 games. No doubt about that. I still think Green Bay is a better team than Baltimore. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. Matt, I like your squad. Like I said, I don't want to play them. I like your team.
Appreciate
That's why I got them hit up. And we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Did they play already?
Green Bay and Baltimore, not yet. No.
No. Baltimore. I mean, Green Bay and
Detroit.
In Detroit.
Yeah, we played
Yes.
week 1 and dominated them. Completely and utterly destroyed them.
Here you go. I don't need to say no more.
Okay. All right. Well,
That was it right there. They already beat them head up.
all right. Well, from the M&Ms themselves, we are going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with you. All right.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Streetwear is not dead. The next wave in black fashion comes out the Bronx, New York. Rich Kid Clothing. Picking up where Fubu, Rockaware, and Carl Kanai left off, Rich Kid is for the next generation of Get Fly fashion heads.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Rankings Roundtable show. We got a lot of y'all joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. Taking the time out of your Wednesday night to join us on this week's show. We have a lot of fun. Now, we shared a couple of top 10 lists already. Some have been having a little bit of flip-flops here and there, depending on how you want to rank them out. That's kind of the purpose of the show. I also want to reiterate, for those who are new to the show, that this is a what have you done for me lately, not what have you done 2 years ago, what have you done for me last year, what have you done for me last month, what have you done for me lately, okay? Treat it like a female. I don't know. I don't care. It is what it is. What have you done for me lately? All right? That's what this show is all about. Now, we have the M&Ms that have covered their lists already. Mark has covered his. Matt has covered his. We have the grizzled old vet. I know you're getting used to that nickname already. I'm sorry. Bear with me. We have the grizzled old vet. We got Bill with his top 10 list. Bill, break it down as far as where everybody's at and why, and provide some expertise. Teach us something.
Well, I hear lots of buts and ands and what if, you know, and if only this had happened, if only that had happened, if this guy had sneezed, if the ref had tied his shoes. The most dominant team thus far has been the Indianapolis Colts. And I thought maybe, once again, as the kids say, maybe I didn't understand the assignment, but I thought we weren't projecting. I thought we were just talking about what has happened today. Not if, but if you hold the two, if calculus wasn't this. The team that has dominated every opponent thus far has been the Colts. All the other teams we're talking about has at least had somebody hang around with them. The Colts come right out of the gate and smash their opponent. It's not, they don't make the schedules, right? This isn't the NCAA. We don't have to rank them in order to figure out who makes the playoffs, all that kind of foolishness. It all gets worked out on the field. So that's where we are now. The Bills have been the second most dominant team. And you could say strength of schedule, whatever. Guess what? I looked at the the AFC least. The Bills are going to have a pretty clean, easy run from the looks of it, at least in their division. The Eagles have earned it, right? There's not too many teams that are truly balanced. The Eagles are one of the most truly balanced teams. They have people in the secondary that can come up and smack you in the run game, can run with you all over the field in man coverage, are smart enough that they can hang back and play lots of games, right? I wrote a whole article about what Fangio does on defense. Comes out what looks like quarter zone, then jumps into quarter half. Comes what looks like cover 3, then jumps into man press. He plays more games in his secondary than your sophomore year girlfriend. You are going to have to really, really get on your game to hang with them. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. There's nothing they cannot do. They're the most balanced team right now in the NFL. The Chargers are right there with the Eagles. They have a young, talented, emerging bunch of skill position players. And losing Najee Harris is what we call addition by subtraction. That means more carries for the more explosive back. That's going to actually help in the long run. The 49ers, they are what I call quarterback agnostic. They could put Vernie Testaverde out there and probably win games. The great thing about the Shanahan system is that it doesn't really matter who's playing quarterback to some extent, as long as they can read defenses and get the ball in their hands fairly quickly. And everybody they've thrown out there thus far, and we might be seeing Mr. Taylor Martinez next, but guess what? It won't matter. The Bucs, somebody talking about throwback teams. They're a throwback team in a different kind of way. They remind me almost of the old school Raiders. Their quarterback may or may not have had the right amount of sleep. He may or may not be entirely sober. But I can tell you this much. When Baker Reagan Mayfield takes the field, he is going to outrun people he's much slower than. He's going to truck people he's much smaller than. He's going to throw balls into windows so tight that a hummingbird's tongue wouldn't fit. I'm telling you right now, that is a team you should be very afraid of. Just about teams that you don't want to face in the playoffs, you want to face the Buccaneers. The Lions are a terrific team when they are a terrific team, when things sync up. Now, obviously, they have a lot of new coaches, and people don't always account for what the difference it makes when you have new coaches. They're going to hit their stride. But guess what? We don't care about that. We're talking about right here, right now. Right here, right now, they're a top 10 team, but in the lower half of the top 10. The Commanders are another team that's having to get through some nicks and bumps at conditions that matter. Obviously, you had 3 big cogs not practiced today. But I think they're well coached. I think they're disciplined and tough. And if their defense can continue to grow, they'll be fine. The Vikings, once again, Kevin O'Connell, another guy who's off that Shanahan tree, right? That seemingly inexhaustible Shanahan tree, who really understands how to coach up quarterbacks. And if they are able to stay healthy, they should be in it all day long. And yes, I felt weird putting the Jaguars there, but then I went back and watched the tape. So I watched every game they played, and then I watched the all 22 of every game they've played so far this season. You know what I found? I found that all the silly mistakes they made last year, they're tightening up, they're fixing. Also, they have a young secondary that is improving week over week. If they continue on this trajectory, they're going to be a tough out. That is my top tip.
I want to apologize to the audience. I feel like Bill came up with the most groundbreaking, internet-breaking top 10 list of this entire show. This show has only existed for a year and 3 weeks. I want to make that very, very clear. I feel like we have broken the internet by the way of Bill, and this is his first time on this show. All right, Bill, I have to decompress. I have to breathe. I have to, okay, wait a second. All right.
Why do you
I have
hate
to open
me?
my eyes. I do not have glasses. I do not have Mark's mask to use to cover up my facial expressions. What my face is saying and what everybody's seeing on camera is how I feel. I can't hide it, okay? Okay. For starters, We have the Colts at number 1. I feel like you broke the internet off of that alone. Break that down for me.
Once again, I didn't project. I just looked at what I saw. I watched every single one of these teams, all of their games, and I watched the all 22 of all of their games. Their offensive line is utterly dominating everyone they go against. They're pushing people 2-3 feet off the ball, play after play after play. They have wide receivers that can get deep on you, wide receivers that block, wide receivers that can attack the middle of the field. They have one of the best young tight ends. In a few years, we'll be talking about one of the best tight ends, period. But they have the best young tight end in football, I think, or one of the best. Their defense was the thing I was worried about coming into the season. But while they do give up yards and even big plays, they tighten up where it matters. They're tough to move the ball in the red zone, and they force turnovers, right? So while if you just look at the yards per play or yards given up per game, their defense isn't great. But if you look at where their defense comes up, it's once again in that red zone area. They're pretty good against big. They give up big plays. They don't give up plays that score easy points, right? So once they get you in that 25, they're on 25 on in, they tighten up. Will they someday be exposed? But they exposed next week? Sure, maybe, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm talking about what I've seen thus far. I watched every single play that team has played, right? Both normal broadcast and all 22. And they are dominating their opponents. And is this the real Daniel Jones? Nobody knows, but I don't have to know. It's just about what's happened thus far, what's happened now.
Okay. That covers one miss. This we're covering all the misunderstandings, okay? And I appreciate you using your veteran expertise on full displays. It's for the whole world to see. Thank you. All right, number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, who literally feel me and you are now on the roster because everybody keeps dropping like flies. How are they over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today?
Well, here's what I would say. Part of what you just said, right? The fact that they're doing it with whoever, right? They're, if they see a hot dog vendor, sling a dog with a little zip on it, he probably gets at least added to the practice squad. But they have a system, and the system works, right? I am rewarding them for consistency. I watched, once again, every single play, normal broadcast version that I watched the all 22. And if I see that guys who weren't even expecting to play go out there and still play at a high level, they're in the right place. Their guys are taking the right leverage when they're dropping into coverage. Their eyes are in the right place. They're taking the right blocking angle if they're playing offensive line. They're running their routes at the right depth. They're out there playing wide receiver, but they weren't supposed to be out there. Whenever you get guys out there who didn't do it a play and they still do the right things the right way at the right time, that means your system and your coaching is working. And every once in a while, people get a little bored with talking about how good a coaching staff the 49ers have. They're as good as you think and probably better. And we don't talk enough, I think, about how important coaching is, how important systems are. But their coaching and their system allows them to put whoever out there and still be good. I think they learned from last year when injuries completely derailed them that they couldn't just spend all their time with their starters. So maybe they learned to give a few more reps to guys who are second and third off, guys that maybe are special teamers primarily. But hey, come out here and get a couple of reps this practice, right? So that if this happens, because they sure are injury prone, at least they figured out how to now counter that by playing more players in practice. But they are a team that understands how to get it done with whoever goes out there to get it done. Any other questions?
Why do you hate me?
It's not so much a hate thing. And if we were allowed ties, I promise you I would have found a way to get Green. Remember, my preseason prediction, even before the Michael Parsons trade, was that Green Bay was going to the Super Bowl. So
my question is how do you have two teams that Green Bay beat in the top 10, but not Green Bay?
Well, since you asked the question, I'll answer the question.
And beat decisively, handily.
I get what you're saying. And while head-to-head, I do believe matters, right? I'm not discounting head-to-head. I am looking more at what is this team capable of doing in different situations, right? Because you're not going to play the same team week after week. You play different teams every week. That's part of the, well, separate teams that play same, you know, in your division. But other than that, you're facing different teams. Are you a team that's flexible? Are you a team that's versatile? So I did go with teams I thought were flexible and versatile and can win in different ways. I have nothing against Green Bay. In fact, like I said, once again, they're my I have them coming out of the NFC. I have them in the Super Bowl. You know that.
You obviously have something against them, Bill. You don't have them.
It is quite the opposite. Because if you were asking me to project, which is not the exercise, they would have been probably in my top 4 because I think they're a Super Bowl team. Once again, I predicted them in the Super Bowl preseason.
I don't understand, though, how after a last-second loss from a blocked field goal gets them from a top 4 to not in the top 10.
I thought I explained it, but I'm going to make it clear one more time. I'm looking at what is your team capable of doing. Are you capable, if you have to, of just pounding the rock down someone's throat? If you can't run the ball, are you capable of winning through the air? If you are down by 3 touchdowns going halfway through the third quarter, can you come back? Are you capable of winning the game on special teams if you have to? Do you have a field goal kicker that can hit a 57-yarder with the clock?
We have a field goal kicker, but we don't have a special teams besides that.
Well, yeah, that is kind of it. At least this season, special teams have been. People discount special teams this year. People pay attention to special teams. Special teams matter. Special teams matter. So, what I'm going to say is, in a few weeks from now, it's going to look completely different. But that's not what I'm doing here. I'm not projecting. I'm not imagining. I'm not analyzing the future. But yes, I think Green Bay will be one of the last 4 teams playing football. I think it'll be one of the last 2 teams playing football this season. I said that months ago. They were one of my preseason predictions for the Super Bowl. But I'm now just, when I watch the All-22, I sometimes, especially in that secondary, see things that concern me. Now, sometimes the other team doesn't see those things, right? You guys have gotten a little bit lucky in that there have been potential big plays in not almost every single game.
Joe Flacco missed, I forget who was it.
He's not the only one.
Wide open running across.
There was some couple. You guys have had a shocking number of blown coverages that, for whatever reason, the other team didn't see. I don't just analyze the plays that did happen. I analyze the plays that didn't happen. That's why I watch all that on 22.
But those plays, why they're not throwing it to those guys is because our pressure is elite and they don't have the time to get to the ball.
Yeah, now that is true. You have elite pressure, but when it doesn't get there, some things can happen.
Okay. Speaking of things that can happen, Bill's list was so bizarre, it kicked me off the show. And I'm the host. I haven't even brought up my list yet. The list has been so bizarre, it's kicked me off. I'm supposed to be the QB1 guiding this way. It's been insane. Okay? Now that I feel like I've come down to earth, I feel like my internet has stationed itself back to normal again. I think it's time. This is the list that everybody can't seem to stand. They are very they think I have a very polarizing list. But as Rich Eisen would say, there's many of them like it, but this one is mine. All right? This is my top 10 list, and I'm gonna go from 10 to 1. I'm gonna start with the Commanders. Granted, I was about to say Oakland Raiders. That's how bad they're playing. The Vegas Raiders. However, you put up 41 points. You have a backup quarterback in Marcus Mariota who was acting like he was in his rookie year of playing in Tennessee. Oh, at least in week 1 of that year, by the way, guys. Let's relax. We saw how the rest of that rookie year went. But 207 yards, a touchdown, having 9.9 yards per attempt was incredible. Their rushing game altogether was 201 yards, 6.3 yards per carry with 3 touchdowns. Can't ignore that. Can't dismiss that. You have a spot on the list. Number 9, it's the you, me, the audience. It's the flowers that's in your garden. San Francisco 49ers at 9. I think it's very remarkable that it seems like it doesn't seem to matter who's hurt. They just keep finding a way to win. They are 3-0 for a reason. And the fact that you have a defense who has allowed under 22 points in all 3 games, is nothing to sneeze at. You also have Mac Jones, who is also coming in as a backup, having 284 yards, a touchdown. He did throw a pick. Can't ignore that. However, with Mac Jones in particular, when you have 279 plus yards in back-to-back games, you have a spot on my list as well, okay? Mac Jones at quarterback, leading the 49ers, undefeated, 279 yards. Can't ignore that, okay? Number 8, I do have the Green Bay Packers. Matt, I'm sorry. I can't ignore what I saw. The eye test has shown me that, hey, you know what? Everybody has an off week. Everybody has a performance that is not up to snuff. It's okay. When you are the Green Bay Packers and you've had a season that you've shown us this far, hey, 17 weeks, things happen. It's all right. It is what it is. But with the Packers in particular, their defense is also something I want to point out. Because when they have been able to allow under 19 points in all 3 games, that's not something that you can't ignore or dismiss. All right. Now, granted, we could have questions about the offense, but I think as we all have stated already, the Cleveland Browns defense is, wait for it,
Pretty good.
I don't think we should ignore that. Okay. That did exist. That did transpire. And they did end up losing by 3. So let's not panic here. I do have the Rams at 7. We all know how that game happened in Philadelphia. So I think them not being on the list would be a crime. But you have a defense that's had 12 sacks in 3 games. For those of you that can do math, that's 4 sacks a game. Pretty incredible. And they've had 26 plus points in back-to-back games. So obviously they're putting points up on the board. Now, granted, I don't know what happened after the start of the 3rd quarter in that game in Philly, but nevertheless, 26 plus points is good enough as far as an offense is concerned to win football games, usually, unless, of course, you get blocked field goal after blocked field goal and one gets returned for a touchdown and, you know, all that good fun stuff. But they're at 7. 6, I have the Colts. I have the Indiana Jones-led Colts. I can't say I'm fully believing in it. I'm not going as hard as Mark here, having them at 4, but they have shown me some promise. Okay, I understand this is schedule, but I am one of those people that believe that you only play who's on your schedule. You can't change it. You can't make any adjustments. You can't switch it around. The only time they can do that is flex it. But you still have to play the same team. And I feel like when it comes to the Colts, when you have Daniel Jones going 18 to 25, 228 yards, a touchdown, hasn't thrown an interception yet. Again, I would like to say this again for those of you who may be hard of hearing.
Daniel Jones has yet to throw an interception yet.
Knock on wood, obviously, is incredible. 29 plus points in 3 straight games is incredible as well. It doesn't matter who you're playing. That's just stuff that really shouldn't be happening in the NFL, especially when we're talking about the Colts out of all people, where we were having questions about their offense heading into this year, of how consistent they were going to be and things of that nature. So the fact they were able to produce that much is incredible. And of course, you can't talk about the Colts without talking about how well Jonathan Taylor has been playing this year. 102 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging 6 yards per carry. Yeah, you get to be on my list. I'm sorry. You get to be on my list somewhere. 5, I do have the Detroit Lions. I ain't going to lie. When you have a primetime game going up against the Baltimore Ravens, where literally Lamar Jackson eats NFC teams alive, especially at home, it's not the easiest thing to do in the world. And that's exactly what Detroit came into Baltimore and did. But how does 38 points sound? Better yet, how does both running backs having 250 yards total and 4 touchdowns sound? How does a defense that sacks Lamar Jackson, out of all people, 7 times sound? I'm sorry. I understand we have some 3-0 teams beneath them, But anytime you do that for the whole world to see against a team such as Baltimore, can't ignore it. Okay. We have the Bucks at 4. Look, Baker Mayfield. I feel like that's all I really need to say. 233 yards, a touchdown, averaging 8 yards per attempt. Their offensive line has allowed 1 sack on 29 passes this past Sunday. Okay, it's the NFL where literally anything can happen, and bad case scenario could transpire. He only got touched 1 time on 29 attempts. It's incredible what their offensive line is doing, and they just got back Tristan Wirfs. So usually when you talk about plug and play, having different guys in there, a lot of things could go wrong. But the fact that they're able to do what they did is incredible. Chargers, my lovely Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, man, he's a bad man. Don't know if anybody's known it yet. But 300 yards, a touchdown, did throw an interception. He also has had 300 yards in 2 of 3 games this year so far. And I do want to shout out Quentin Johnston, who we have spent the last couple seasons going out of our way to talk about how bad his hands are. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I look like my skin is clear. But if you're not paying attention, you could think that there is grease all over Quentin Johnston's hands over the past couple years. Could not catch a thing. Could be wide open, no coverage, still drop it. Could have coverage, still drop it. Well, this year, he seems to be catching everything. And now he's getting into the end zone. Now, this past Sunday, he didn't find himself in the end zone. However, 6 receptions, 89 yards. It's clear that the Chargers are believing in him. They are getting him heavily involved in the offense, which is not easy to do when you have the track record that he has. I do want to give him his flowers on that. I also want to mention that the same Quentin Johnston has had 71 plus yards in 3 straight games. They are featuring him in this offense in a manner that I would have never seen to ever transpire. Led by Justin Herbert, led by Jim Harbaugh. It's incredible what they're doing, and they're undefeated. Can't ignore that. I have my Eagles, go Birds. At number 2, Jalen Hurts. I feel like so many times we get caught up on what the final score is and like he didn't throw this many yards and he didn't score this many touchdowns. It gets very nauseating really fast. But usually we talk when it comes to the Eagles, whether it was a couple years ago where we had literally arguably one of the worst offenses known to mankind, where we're calling wide receiver screens on 3rd and 19s and stuff like that. We have an issue. As great as our team is, we have an issue with if we are down early, we tend to stay down early and late. A blowout is a blowout. That's it. So the fact that we were able to see an Eagles team fight back, come back, and to ultimately win the game in the manner that they did was incredible. But to speak on Jalen Hurts once again, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, can't dismiss it. He's also not doing a whole lot of that interception thing, not turning the ball over. So can't dismiss that. AJ Brown, hey, oh, that's what he loves for the crowd to do when he scores. Okay, so AJ Brown, 6 receptions, 109 yards with the touchdown. Obviously, he woke up with the rest of the offense in that second half, which is what great football is all about from the best teams in the league. Can't ignore that. Can't dismiss that. I got the Eagles at 2. And number 1 is the Buffalo Bills. 30 plus points in 3 straight games is pretty incredible. And it seems like with their offense, kind of like they're taking turns. It's like, first, it was Josh Allen. Go ahead, steal the show. Then it's, you know what, James Cook, have fun, steal the show. And this week, it was like, you know what, might do a little bit of both. And in this case, it was Josh Allen having 214 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, am I proud of the fact that they barely squeaked by against the Dolphins? Yeah, but that's what happens when you have a divisional matchup where literally anything can happen. As an Eagles fan, I can tell you, playing the Cowboys, anything could have happened in that game. It's a divisional matchup. With any divisional matchup, the weirdest things happen. The weirdest things happen. So the fact that they were able to put up the numbers that they've been able to put up puts my top 10 list capped off by the Bills once again. And I think that kind of puts in the perspective of how I feel about each team heading into week 4. Now, of course, we are going into my favorite segment of the show. This show is capped off with one of the best segments there is in all of Team NBS media. This is an opportunity where we get to talk about the worst teams in the NFL and to not feel bad about it, to not be sad about it, to not be ashamed. And instead, we take the time out to bash them and to make fun of them on a huge variety, on a wide stage such as this. So with that being said, it's our stinky. It's my favorite audio of the entire show. Respect to Bill, respect to Matt, respect to Mark. That's my favorite audio of the entire show. We have the stinky 5 list. And I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't take the time out to let a fellow Eagles fan and Mark, king of the Mass podcast, go over his stinky 5 list. Break it down for us, man.
Number 5, we got the Dolphins. Too much talent. They suck ass. Houston, number 4. Once again, too much talent. CJ, I don't know, taking a step back. And what was this, year 3? Shit. He's taking a step back the last 2 years. They need to, yeah. But no running game. No running game. So you got Nick Chubb, and he's not the Nick Chubb of old. So, yeah, he needs a little bit of help. Then we got the Jets. I don't know why they still have a football team. I'm still trying to figure that out. They don't. The New Jersey Jets, because they damn sure don't play in New York. No matter what quarterback they got, that place is just doomed. They need to really investigate that team. The Titans. Oh, my God. Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley. That's all they got. That's all they got, and that's not enough. And Kellen Moore. You should have stayed with Philly, bro. Kai, you ass. You should have just stayed home. You got the worst team in the NFL that you lead, and I feel sorry for you. But those are my stinky 5.
Okay. I do want to say this really fast because I feel like we are not doing a service to the list itself. I have created with something that may stand for the test of time for the remainder of this week until we get to week 4. I'm going to take the time out as the host to censor all of the NFC South that's not named the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like
that's wrong. That's just
all
wrong.
teams aside from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be on the stinky 5 list. Okay, they all have great reasons for it. All right, and it's so much so that I'm going to censor them. Okay, for the remainder of this show. We don't have much time left, but we're going to censor them for the remainder of this show. So if you are a fan of and you give up 30 points and have a shutout on the road to the, yes, I know y'all won. It doesn't matter to me. And when you are going to Seattle and you are a fan of, and you decide not to show up in the first half, let alone the entire game altogether, and you only come up with field goals. Yeah, if you're a fan of, if your name is not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we have nothing to talk about, and we're not even going to mention your names. That's how bad y'all are playing right now. So, now that I got that out of the way, I feel better now. It's been a great safe space. I love it. I enjoy it. It makes a lot of fun. Before we get out of here, Matt, Mark, Bill, thank y'all so much for joining us. But before we go, Matt, I'll start with you. Where can they find your work, and where can they find you on your social, man?
Well, you can find me on X only at Brunelli Sports right there in the bottom corner. That's B as in boy, RUNELLI Sports. I'm currently only on X. I'm also, producing articles for NBS Media here. I just dropped a couple articles this week. You kind of mentioned on some stuff. You can go look at my Packers takes from this loss against the Cleveland Browns. We've all kind of mentioned them and some of the things that we have talked about on the show. You can find them on that article, as well as my Tennessee Volunteers annual opponents and top 5 worst coaches in the NFL. So you can find all that here on Team MBS Media. So that's where you can find me, as well as tomorrow night, me and Bill's beautiful podcast, College Football Focus, that will be airing Friday nights.
Fantastic. Well, great segue. Grizzled old vet. Where can they find you, Bill?
You're muted.
Bill. There you go.
For those of you who enjoy work that was produced by Oil Lamp and Quill Pen, you can see some of the articles I'll be posting up on Team MBS Media. Just recently finished an article having to do with the aforementioned Colts and their next opponent. Working on a piece right now about Northwestern and their game upcoming with UCLA. And, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs piece coming up. But, as was just mentioned, Donovan James and Brandon Brooks, a.k.a. Big Bonedits, will have both of those gentlemen back. In fact, Donovan will be joining us from location. He's going to be at the Georgia-Alabama game to preview that game and to break down all of what's coming up in the next week of College Football on College Football Forecast here on Team MBS Media. Please like and subscribe.
Well done, Bill. Never ceases to amaze me, man. I promise you. Mark, where can they find you at, man?
They should know this by now. I've been on this show too many times. If you're looking for me, just look for me. Shit. You ain't getting my ad. That ain't my ad at the bottom. You ain't getting that. Oh, wait a minute. I do want to say one thing. Bill, brother, I did want to give you your flowers, yo. By far, you're one of the greatest football minds I have ever come across, brother. I've been meaning to tell you that for a minute. So, you know. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And my brother Matt, welcome to the team, because I'm not in the group chats anymore. So I never got a chance to tell you that. Thomas, whatever. Fly Eagles fly. But no, welcome to the team. Welcome to the team, Matt.
You can't tell the host whatever on the way out. What's wrong with you? Go Birds!
Yeah, go Birds!
Before we get out of here, my name is Thomas Brown Jr. I am the host of the Rankings Roundtable Show. We do this Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, every week. This is a week-to-week show. This is very fluid. It's what have you done for me lately? And I'm the host of it all. You can find me on Instagram on the X at _ Terrific Tom _ because it's infinite around here. Yes, you know it. You can find me there, and you'll catch me here every week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Rankings Roundtable Show. Thank you. There was a lot of people here tonight. I just want to say thank y'all so much for joining us and dealing with our foolishness and discussing and breaking down our top 10 lists along with our stinky 5 lists. Thanks to Mark. We appreciate y'all so much. Make sure that y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of our platforms. Check us out at teamnbsmedia.com for all of our great work we have with our articles and content everywhere. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this week's show, and we'll see you next week. You have a good one. Be safe.